The Israel-Iran Air War, a clash between nanotech and 20th century missiles? In the unfolding conflict between high-tech Israel, often dubbed a nanotechnology superpower, and Iran, armed with what many label as outdated 20th century weaponry, the outcome of the initial air exchanges was unexpectedly fascinating. Following Israel's surprise strike on June 13, what the US and its allies politely termed a preemptive strike, though many saw it as more of a sucker punch, Iran's air defense network was reportedly completely wiped out. Meanwhile, Israel's own air defenses remained fully intact at maximum combat readiness and backed by the full force of the US Sixth Fleet. And yet somehow, Iran's retaliatory missile strikes inflicted shocking levels of destruction. Israeli territory, including highly strategic sites, was hit in a way that felt less like retaliation and more like a carefully aimed uppercut. It was, as some observers dryly put it, a dramatic missile-to-the-face moment. What's even more intriguing is the Western response, or lack thereof. After Israel's initial strike caused significant damage in Iran, there was no collective outrage, no calls for de-escalation from the usual Western voices. Why? Because the assumption was that Iran wouldn't survive the next blow. Western leaders echoed the narrative that Israel's attack was justified and well-grounded. But after Iran launched a modest counterattack, using older cruise missiles and mid-range ballistic systems intended to exhaust Israeli and US missile defenses, and still survived, the mood didn't change. It wasn't until the second Iranian wave, featuring hypersonic and ballistic missiles, started wreaking havoc deep in Israeli territory, that the West suddenly found its voice. Immediate ceasefire is necessary, they cried. Iran must stop targeting Israeli civilian areas. Why the shift? Simple. Because now Israel looked vulnerable. Apparently, Israel can strike Iranian soil without cause, but when Iran hits back, that's crossing a line. The hypocrisy is almost poetic. Humanitarian outrage only seems to activate when Tel Aviv bleeds. But let's leave geopolitics aside for a moment. The real story might lie in one very particular detail from that night, the fall of a celebrated symbol of American missile defense. The fall of THAAD, a $5 billion paperweight. Among the targets Iran struck in Tel Aviv was the Marganit Tower, a high-security site housing Israel's Ministry of Defense and key strategic command units. But here's the kicker. This compound was protected by THAAD, the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense System, widely promoted as one of the most advanced missile defense systems the US has ever produced. The accompanying footage captured something rarely seen. 2 Iranian missiles, one a medium-range ballistic missile, possibly Khybar or Zulfikar, flying at Mach 4. The other a hypersonic missile, potentially Fatah 1, flying at Mach 8, precisely hitting the Marganit Tower. Right there, inside the heavily fortified grounds, stood a THAAD battery, flanked by the David Sling, mid-range defense, and Iron Dome, short-range. Yet none of these systems managed to stop the incoming missiles. The Ministry of Defense building suffered catastrophic damage. The THAAD launcher vaporized. The surrounding area reduced to a massive crater. David Sling and Iron Dome damaged and disabled. Just hours before the strike, U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth had proudly stated, "Israel is shielded by the strongest air and missile defense systems on Earth, including 2 THAAD batteries." THAAD, with its near $5 billion price tag and $20 million per interceptor missile, is marketed as being capable of neutralizing ballistic threats at speeds up to Mach 6. But reality paints a different picture. In fact, in 2022, a Houthi-fired Scud-B missile slipped past THAAD over Abu Dhabi, landing near the city's airport. In Israel, the system's track record has remained ambiguous at best. Twice now, key Israeli sites protected by THAAD have come under successful ballistic missile attacks, first by the Houthis, now by Iran. A breach of the unbreachable? The strike on the Marganit Tower shocked analysts. This was not some poorly defended location. It sat at the heart of Tel Aviv's defense infrastructure, surrounded by layered protection systems embedded in both military and civilian zones. Yet at least 2 Iranian missiles managed to cut through that multi-layered iron shield, destroy the headquarters of the Ministry of Defense, and eliminate the very missile shield designed to stop such an event. What does this mean for the balance of power, for the credibility of U.S. defense systems, for Israel's military deterrence? Hard to say, but one thing's for certain, this story isn't over. Not even close. Stay tuned. The Desert Storm is just beginning. Like and subscribe for more stories the news won't tell you. Next up, why Israel's air superiority may not be enough.